My name is Andy Robertshaw, and I'm a military historian and expert on the experience of soldiers in the Great War. And we want you to get an idea about what it was like for your ancestor serving in the trenches of the First World War on a day-to-day basis. Living, eating, sleeping, drinking, doing all the things that have to be done. Soldier here is wearing the 1908 Webb equipment, developed for the Army in 1908. It's made of cotton canvas, it's camouflaged to be the same colour as the uniform, and it contains the following. Pouches on both sides with 75 rounds of ammunition, 75 bullets. Each pouch has 15 bullets in it. Under the right arm we've got the water bottle with 2 pints of water. If you spin that way round, under the left arm, just show us here, is the bayonet. And next to that one actually is the handle for the entrenching tool, used for digging in a hurry. You turn around and show us the back. Here we've got the head for the entrenching tool in a pouch. Above it, the mess tins for cooking, and above that, the haversack. In there, rations, personal equipment, washing gear, sewing gear, everything you might need, and a ground sheet to sleep in at night. And if you turn around, that then gives you all the equipment that you need. But of course, vitally important for our soldier are weapons. And the basic weapon is, if we can just show us, the short magazine Lee Enfield rifle. Virtually every soldier in the Great War would be carrying this, apart from machine gunners and officers with a pistol. And that can take in the magazine there 10 bullets, 10 rounds at a time. It's loaded from on top, 5 rounds go in, 5 rounds going on top of that. And when the soldier's ready to shoot, you put the bullets away for a minute. What he's simply going to do is to push forward the bolt, as it's called, and when he's ready, he can then aim and fire. Of course, he might run out of bullets. He might need to get close to the enemy, in which case the order will be given, prepare to fix bayonets, followed by fix bayonets. We won't do it formally, we'll just fix bayonets. Put it on, and that click is the notice that we mean business. Once that bayonet's fixed, really there is no going back. And that 17.5 inches of fluted steel extends the reach of the soldier, so a German with an enemy rifle cannot outreach him. Of course, if that isn't enough, we might go further, and my soldier here is a trained bomber, so if you want to just sling your rifle, okay, what we can then do is use the bomb, the grenade. Every soldier would carry 2 of these. Trained bombers are the ones actually intended to throw them. For soldiers in the trenches, it's basically 24 hours over 5 days. So you'll normally be in the trenches for 5 days every month, possibly slightly more than that. But the breakdown is very straightforward. At night, you do 1 hour guard duty, or 1 hour resting, or 1 hour working. And that working is called a fatigue party. It's fatiguing. And basically, you're going to be digging, or repairing the barbed wire, or you're building dugouts, or you're moving stuff. That's what you do. As dawn comes round in the morning, obviously earlier in the summer than the winter, you stand to. You wait with your bayonet fixed in case the enemy attack, taking advantage of half light. Then you stand down, you have a rum ration, you then make your own breakfast. Then what you do is you get washed and cleaned up, and then you do all your duties in the morning that you have to be done, and they can be very, very varied. Then it's lunchtime, you have your lunch, and during that time, 1 man in 10's on guard duty, all the time, watching through a periscope, looking out through a loophole. You have your dinner, as the soldiers would call it. After dinner, you sleep. Not everybody, because obviously 1 man in 10's on guard duty for 2 hours. So you're lucky if you get 4 or 5 hours sleep a day. Then you have your tea, which you cook yourself, or it's brought up for you if you're lucky. And you stand to, in case the enemy attack, using advantage of it being dusk or half light. Then you stand down, and you start your nighttime routine. 1 man on guard duty, 1 man resting, 1 man working, all the time. So at the end of 5 days, you're probably surviving on 4 or 5 hours sleep a day. You're working all the time, you're exhausted, you're probably filthy, you haven't changed your underwear, and then you go back and then you do other duties as well. And some people prefer being in the front line to being in the base, where you're probably going to be working and training and doing those things. But up here at least, you know what's going to happen every day, summer or winter. That combination of guard duty, periodic rest, looking after yourself and digging. Every morning and every evening there was what was called stand to. Stand to meant that every single soldier was standing to in the trench, and in the evening it would begin just half an hour before dusk, which means that actually as the evening goes on, the order would be given that gradually takes them up onto the fire step, and as then the sun drops, what will happen eventually, they'll rise up in case the enemy attack, making advantage of the gathering gloom, till eventually, after about an hour, half an hour after full dusk has come, it's fully dark, every single man is standing head and shoulders above the parapet in case the enemy attack. Most days that doesn't happen, but if it did, we need to be ready. And only when it's fully dark and everything really is calm can we start the nighttime routine of working, resting, and then doing the guard duties as well. And in the morning, you do the same thing again, starting above the trench, gradually dropping down, and as the sun comes up, stepping back off the fire step, back into the trench, and then standing down for your daytime duties. So morning and evening, both sides doing exactly the same thing, that morning stand to, sometimes accompanied by shelling because the enemy hope to get you when you're in the open. Wherever you are on the Western Front, trenches are the same. What is different is the material they're dug in. Here we happen to be in chalk, you could be in sandy soil, or you could be worse up around Ypres in clay. But here chalk is pretty friendly. But you still need to have what's called revetting, and you need to keep your feet out of the mud. So what they've done here is they've built the trench using A-frames, inverted A-frames of timber. And on top of it, they've actually got the trench mats or trench boards, sometimes called duck boards. They've used sandbags in certain areas, and they put up a periscope to see out. And here is a plate which could be used by a sniper to shoot through. But whatever happens, you have to ensure that you're below ground level at all times. You do not want your head popping up. So all of this is designed to ensure that actually you are fairly safe from rifle or machine gun fire, and you've got some protection from shell fire. The great problem with all of this, it's a vast amount of work, and all of it is done in the dark. So at the end of the trench here, we've actually got a box with rockets in it, so that if we get attacked, we can tell the artillery that we need help. We need that shell fire, and those rockets will be fired in the sky. Because remember, there's no telephones, and well, there are, but they're signal cable, and if they get cut, we're just cut off completely. So here, waiting in my trench, below ground level, wherever you are, whether it's sunny or raining or it's snowing, you're living in a hole in the ground, and all you can see in daylight is the sky and dirt. Many families, their introduction really to researching their ancestor in the First World War is this kind of collection. It may be in one of those Princess Mary tins, it might be in a cardboard box, it might be in an envelope. The critical thing about it is that what you're going to have potentially are photographs, postcards that were sent home from the front. Sometimes they were bought behind the lines, and that will give you all sorts of information, whether it's the unit or where the man was. We're going to have medals, we're going to have badges, may well have a memorial photograph for a soldier that died. But each of these together can give you clues, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for clues. So here we've got a cap badge, in this case of the Victoria Rifles from London. Here we've in fact got then the medals themselves, and the evidence is actually on the medal. On this one, which is the 1914-15 Star, and these medals collectively known as Pip, Squeak and Wilfred, we actually got the information on the back. And this guy here, well, it's surprising for me, I had to buy it. Private A. Robertshaw, the Yorkshire Light Infantry, number 1821. What I was able to do then was to use that information to trace him by doing one thing after another. First of all, checking the medal index cards. And although some service records were destroyed in the Second World War, the medal index cards survive. And they gave me a clue as to when he went to France. Actually, because he's got this one, 1915. He might have gone earlier. I was then able to go and look at his papers, which are available online in a variety of sources, which gave me more information. Where he came from, how tall he was, what complexion he had, what his chest expansion was. Fantastic information, which told me when he went to France, when he came back and everything else. And this soldier survived. But another soldier I was researching, this was my big clue. This isn't a medal. This is awarded to soldiers who are disabled, and it may be they'll have no apparent injury, so they'll put that on their civilian clothes, which means they don't get given a white feather for being a coward. And these also have an index. So take all that together, you can go step by step, gradually building up a picture. You may not be lucky with everything, you may only get some information, but frankly, having gone through the detective trail, unpicking all the clues, you can find out a great deal quite simply, and most of it's available online. I hope that you found this guide useful. There are plenty of books out there about the First World War, a few of which I've written myself, one of which is 24-Hour Trench, and the other one is Feeding Tommy, about food in the trenches. They're very specific to the experience of soldiers and what it was like on a day-to-day basis. I hope that you're successful with your research, and I do hope that you find out a little bit more about what it was like for somebody serving between 1914 and 1918 in the First World War.